You already know more about people than you think. You just don't know how to read the signs yet. Because every person leaves clues, and Aristotle's 15 timeless insights will teach you how to find them and what they mean. This is a skill no one teaches you, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. This video isn't a quick list or surface-level advice. It's a complete breakdown divided into 3 powerful parts, each building on the last. If you skip ahead or miss one, you'll lose the depth that makes this truly work. So stay with me, because by the end of all 3 parts, you won't just understand others, you'll understand yourself in ways you never expected. But before we dive in, do this. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the deeper lessons coming after this one. Turn on the bell, because this is just part of a bigger series designed to change the way you see people and yourself. Part 1. The foundation of character. From a young age, you're trained to listen to what people say. Words are our currency. But Aristotle warned us 2,400 years ago not to be fooled by speech alone. He said, "We are what we repeatedly do, not what we say we are, but what we actually do when nobody's watching." The surface of someone's personality is not them. It's their presentation. The person who talks constantly about their achievements may not be confident at all. They may be desperate for validation. The one who seems effortlessly calm may be struggling with inner turmoil, hoping no one notices. And here's what's most revealing about humans. They don't even know they're doing it. Most people are living out patterns they didn't consciously choose. Their reactions, their habits, their way of speaking, all shaped by what they believe will keep them safe or successful. Aristotle once said, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom." But he also knew that most people avoid this knowledge because it's uncomfortable. And this is why people aren't hiding from you. They're hiding from themselves. Here's what no one tells you. People reveal their true character all the time. Not in their words, but in the moments between words. The way they treat someone who can't help them. The way they respond when they think no one important is watching. The way they handle small frustrations when the stakes feel low. And Aristotle's first insight is this. 1. Watch how they treat people who can't benefit them. Everyone performs when it matters. But Aristotle believed that true character, what he called ethos, is revealed in how we treat people when there's nothing to gain. Watch how someone treats the waiter, the janitor, the person asking for directions. Do they make eye contact? Do they say thank you? Do they acknowledge the person's humanity? Or do they treat them like furniture? This isn't about being nice. It's about revealing whether someone sees other people as full human beings or just as tools for their own agenda. 2. Notice what they do when they think nobody's watching. Aristotle taught that virtue isn't about grand gestures. It's about small, consistent choices when no one is keeping score. Does someone return the extra change? Do they put their shopping cart back? Do they pick up trash that isn't theirs? These micro moments reveal more about character than any resume or Instagram post ever could. Because when the spotlight is off, the real person shows up. 3. Listen how they talk about people who aren't present. This one is crucial. Aristotle believed that how we speak about others reveals our own character more than theirs. If someone constantly gossips, criticizes, or tears others down, they're showing you how they see the world and how they'll eventually see you. But pay attention to the person who speaks about others with nuance, who can acknowledge both strengths and flaws without malice. They're showing you a mind that can hold complexity, and that's someone worth knowing. For observe their relationship with their own mistakes. Aristotle taught that wisdom begins with wonder, but matures through humility. To grow, one must be willing to admit, "I was wrong," and to seek understanding rather than validation. So pay attention. When someone makes a mistake, do they deflect blame, get defensive, or twist the narrative to protect their image? Or do they pause, reflect, and revise their view with grace? The ability to own a mistake without ego is a mark of rare inner strength. It tells you this person values truth over pride, growth over performance, and reality over perception. That kind of integrity is a quiet superpower. 5. Notice what makes them genuinely angry. Aristotle believed that anger, when rightly directed, reveals the soul's deepest values. What ignites someone's fury? Is it injustice, dishonesty, chaos, betrayal? Their anger, when authentic and unguarded, is a mirror of their moral framework. If someone is enraged by cruelty, they likely hold compassion sacred. If they burn with anger at manipulation, truth might be their highest ideal. But if they erupt when their authority is questioned or when they lose control, you're looking at someone who prizes dominance over dialogue. But here's the deeper wisdom. True character isn't just in moments, it's in patterns. One moment of kindness may be a mask, but repeated kindness, even under pressure, that's real. The way people consistently deal with discomfort, failure, power, and pain is how you begin to see not just who they are, but why they are that way. And that's where true understanding and true connection begins. Part 2. The patterns of the soul. It's one thing to notice someone's character. It's another thing entirely to understand the deeper patterns that drive their behavior. Because Aristotle knew that humans aren't random. We're creatures of habit, shaped by our experiences and driven by our deepest needs. In Part 1, we learned to read the surface. But here in Part 2, we go deeper into the forces that shape people from the inside. Because once you understand someone's core patterns, you can predict not just what they'll do, but why they'll do it. 6. Identify their dominant virtue or vice. Aristotle taught that every person has a dominant characteristic that colors everything they do. Some people are driven by courage, others by justice, others by curiosity. But some are driven by envy, others by pride, others by fear. Watch for the pattern. Does someone always need to be the smartest person in the room? That's pride. Do they always find reasons why other success doesn't count? That's envy. Do they always play it safe? That's fear. Once you identify their dominant drive, you can understand 80% of their behavior. Because we don't just have these traits, we're shaped by them. 7. Notice how they handle power. Aristotle said that power doesn't corrupt, it reveals. When someone has even a small amount of authority, do they use it to help others or to make themselves feel important? The person who hoards information, who makes others wait, who enjoys making people jump through hoops, they're showing you someone who feels powerless in other areas of their life. Because real power doesn't need to perform. 8. Watch their relationship with gratitude. This one is subtle but profound. Aristotle believed that gratitude was a sign of wisdom, the ability to recognize that we don't achieve anything alone. So notice, does someone acknowledge the help they've received? Do they remember favors? Do they give credit where it's due? The person who takes all the credit and remembers none of the help is someone who sees the world as a competition where they're the only player that matters. And that tells you everything about how they'll treat you. 9. Observe how they handle other people's success. Aristotle taught that envy was one of the most destructive emotions because it makes us hate what we should celebrate. So watch carefully. When someone else succeeds, what's the first reaction? Do they genuinely celebrate? Do they find ways to diminish it? Do they make it about themselves? Or do they disappear entirely? Each response tells you about their relationship with their own potential. 10. Notice what they need to prove. Everyone has something they need to prove, usually because they doubt it about themselves. The person who constantly shows off their intelligence probably fears they're not smart enough. The person who always talks about their wealth probably feels poor inside. The person who never admits weakness probably feels fragile. Aristotle called this overcompensation. When we perform the opposite of what we fear we are, once you see someone's performance, you can usually identify their insecurity. But here's where it gets interesting. These patterns aren't just random quirks. They're the result of deeper wounds and unmet needs. And understanding those wounds is the key to fully understanding the person. Part 3. The wounds that shape us. Aristotle understood that humans are shaped by their experiences, especially their early ones. We don't just act from our present circumstances. We act from our accumulated history. And if you can read that history, you can understand not just what someone will do, but why they can't help doing it. 11. Identify their childhood wound. Aristotle believed that our early experiences form mental and emotional templates that shape how we interpret and react to the world around us. These wounds often operate beneath conscious awareness, yet they silently dictate our fears, our defenses, and our desires. The child who was constantly criticized doesn't just grow up with low self-esteem. They often become hypersensitive to rejection, reading negativity into even neutral feedback. The child who was ignored may chase validation their entire life, becoming overly performative or addicted to praise. And the child who was betrayed may struggle to let people in, even when love and loyalty are right in front of them. Look for the emotional mismatch, the behavior that doesn't logically fit their current reality. Why does someone with a thriving career still feel like a failure? Why does someone surrounded by love act as if they're unloved? These contradictions are rarely about the present. They're echoes of a wound that was never allowed to heal. True understanding begins when you stop asking what's wrong with them and start asking what happened to them. 12. Notice what they can't let go of. We all carry wounds. That's part of being human. But pay attention to how people carry them. Some wear their scars like medals, quiet reminders of what they survived. Others, though, wield their wounds like weapons. They bring up old betrayals, old failures, old slights, sometimes years, even decades later. Aristotle would say this isn't merely about memory. It's about identity. Some people need their pain, because without it, they wouldn't know who they are. Their suffering becomes their story, and their story becomes their prison. When someone can't stop talking about how they were wronged, they may not be seeking justice. They may be seeking validation for their existence. And that isn't cruel, it's tragic. Because until they let go of what hurt them, they can never reach for what could heal them. 13. Watch how they handle vulnerability. Courage, Aristotle taught, isn't the absence of fear. It's the willingness to act despite fear. Vulnerability is one of the rawest forms of that courage. So ask yourself, can this person say, I don't know? Can they admit when they're scared, when they're hurting, when they need help? Or do they armor up with pride, sarcasm, or silence every time the truth gets too close? The person who allows themselves to be seen, really seen, is someone who has made peace with their humanity. But the person who can't be vulnerable is still fighting an inner war. And no matter how charming or intelligent they may seem, you can't truly connect with someone who's still at war with themselves. 14. Observe their relationship with time. This one cuts deeper than it seems. Aristotle believed our relationship with time mirrors our relationship with life. Some live chained to the past, replaying old victories or regrets like a broken record. Others are obsessed with the future, always planning, always reaching, never arriving. But the rarest kind of person, the one who can be here now. They savor the present without needing to post about it, prove it, or escape it. They can sit with silence, laugh without distraction, cry without apology. That kind of presence isn't just peaceful, it's powerful. Because a person who can fully exist in the moment is someone who's finally made peace with their own existence. 15. Notice what they do with their pain. Aristotle's final lesson on human character is perhaps the most profound. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. We all get hurt. Life promises no one a clean escape. But the question is, what do we do with that hurt? Some let it harden them. They become bitter, guarded, cruel, like their pain owes them compensation. But others take that same pain and turn it into empathy. understanding, a deeper well of kindness for others walking through darkness. The person who's been shattered but chooses to heal without passing the wound forward, that person isn't just strong, they're wise. And in a world that celebrates power, wealth, and attention, wisdom like that is the rarest and most beautiful thing you'll ever witness in another soul. You're probably starting to feel it now. The shift. You walk into a room, and suddenly you're not just seeing people. You're reading them. You see the insecurity behind the arrogance, the fear behind the anger, the wound behind the weapon. But here's what Aristotle would want you to remember. This isn't about gaining power over others. It's about understanding them so completely that you can't help but have compassion for them. Because once you see that everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about, once you understand that everyone's behavior makes perfect sense given their history, once you realize that we're all just trying to survive and find love and meaning in whatever way we can, you stop judging and start understanding. And that's when you become truly powerful. Not because you can manipulate people, but because you can see them clearly and choose to love them anyway. Because in the end, Aristotle's greatest wisdom wasn't about reading others. It was about understanding that we're all more alike than we are different. And when you can see that in everyone you meet, you don't just become better at reading people. You become a better person. If this video changed how you see people, let me know in the comments. Which of these 15 insights hit you the hardest? Which patterns do you recognize in yourself or others? And also, if you don't hit subscribe right now, you might never see me or this kind of content again. So make sure you subscribe, turn on the bell, like the video, and drop a comment with your thoughts. Remember, everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. But now you know how to see the signs. Use that knowledge wisely.